Welcome to this section that provides an opportunity for the contested candidates for the North Liberty City Council. There are 4 candidates' name will appear on the ballot. Jay Johnson could not be here today. He was going to send me a statement, which I did not receive such. We drew lots, and Terry will go first, and then Jim, and then Chris. And the question we asked them to come to make an opening 3-minute statement is, if elected, what would you propose your city do to better serve the increasing number of seniors? Terry?
One of the few times in my life when I can say I'm number 1. Again, my name's Terry Donahue, running for City Council. What are the things that basically seniors want and need? Food, stable supply and access, transportation, good housing, and many times, which is sometimes ignored, is good emotional support. When seniors lose a partner, they're there, their kids may not be around. That seems to be the hidden danger in a lot of seniors in our area. As far as North Liberty is concerned, I am absolutely jealous, and as far as Iowa City is concerned, with their senior center is, wow. The community has to learn how to crawl before they walk and walk before they run. Not so sure we've even been born yet as far as some of these instances are concerned. Why? We've had a smaller senior population, but it is getting bigger and in concentrated places. We have the Senior Living Center, we have Jefferson Point, and coming online within the next year or so is another 100 to 125 units in Keystone. With this, I believe that we have hit our tipping point as far as that we cannot continue to ignore these needs. We have groups inside the city that are really trying to do things, and I applaud them, like North Liberty Community Building people. Their senior council has taken upon themselves to go ahead and start once a week dining. They'll be coming to us here tomorrow night, in fact, to ask for a grant to expand that. Also, we have a grant pending before us for expansion of Meals on Wheels to help with those deficits. As far as I'm concerned, that is something that we have to do and need to do. This does not discount the disabled in our community, because many things which seniors need, the disabled need as well. And so my focus really is to start looking more aggressively and more actively in how to speed these programs along. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jim Sayre, and I'm running for City Council, as you're well aware. So I'll start by saying that I don't think any of us know all the issues. So it's important that every one of us listen, ask questions, go out and meet with folks, and try to learn and understand what those issues are. We do know that North Liberty has a much smaller percentage of folks that are 65 or older than, say, Iowa City. That doesn't mean that we ignore the desire for certain services. The AARP has a livability index that scores North Liberty as a 57 overall, and so they measure housing, transportation, neighborhood characteristics, environment, health, opportunity, and civic and social engagement. And the two big things, and so just so you know, everyone starts at a 50 and above, and that's average. And so you can go above 50 if you're above average and below 50 if you're below average in each of those categories. The two big deficits are neighborhood and transportation, and under neighborhood, it's access to life, work, and play. And so the big thing for me is access in general. So as our population ages and we get a higher percentage of folks that are over 65 or approaching that, how do they get to these services that we want to provide to them? And according to this index and according to just my perception of what's going on in North Liberty, that access is one of the issues. That could be public transportation. It could be just the sidewalk and walking infrastructure. As North Liberty has developed so quickly, we've created these pockets and islands of development, and the connection to those has been challenging. I think the city's done a good job of trying to address those, but as we continue to grow, we need to be actively pursuing how to connect those citizens to the services that we're providing. Thank you. I didn't see my timer, so I wasn't sure where I was at.
Thank you. Plenty of time there. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chris Hoffman. I'm a current member of the North Liberty City Council, and it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. I have two small children. I'm an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the experiences in the community that we live in is much different than those that our seniors live in. As Jim alluded to a moment ago, the percentage of folks that live in North Liberty that are 65 and older is one of our smaller percentages. However, that is changing, and it's getting larger each and every year. In that, I think some of the infrastructure that we've been putting in place for the last 8 years, specifically designed to keep folks active and connected, is going to be something that benefits not only our young children going to school, active adults recreating, but also one that will connect our seniors out there. A couple of challenges that I foresee that aren't news flashes to anybody here or even up here at this panel is, as has been mentioned, transportation has really kind of been an ongoing, I'll call it a bugaboo for us. Since I've been on council, and how to precisely serve the number of people that need those services is really kind of a moving target. So we've implemented transportation that allows us to provide busing for folks down from North Liberty to commute into the Iowa City and Coralville area, and we're kind of massaging that as the years have gone on. We're just beginning now to understand, and we're going to put together a task force, which I think the deadline is tomorrow for that task force to be completed, to look at what else we can do, and part of that is keeping folks in North Liberty and allowing that transportation to serve us more specifically in there. A sense of community is something I think that we've established well with our younger audience, and bringing the folks that have a lot of years. I have a lot of family members, a lot of folks that are my age with kids whose parents have moved to North Liberty. So we've become a 3-generation community in this way, and I think folks move there because it is an attractive place to live. Things that we are still in need of up there are adequate housing, or healthcare, excuse me. If you have transportation and a sense of community and healthcare, I think those are going to be reasons for folks to move up into North Liberty. So thank you for your time.
I'm going to sit down here and talk with you all. Let me acknowledge that in the audience is the distinguished mayor of North Liberty. Good to have you here, ma'am. Do you all support increasing fixed route transit service within North Liberty?
Starting with me, or
Yeah.
Okay. So as Chris mentioned, that there was a task force a number of years ago that was developed to look at providing the service that exists now, the fixed, what would be considered by definition fixed route, which is North Liberty to Iowa City. I was on the second iteration of that task force, where we looked at what do the citizens of North Liberty want for expansion on that particular fixed route arrangement, and Glenn actually was sat on that as well. At the time, we said, we don't think we know enough. All we know is what our perceptions are of the service and what folks might want. So we engaged with a firm out of Cedar Rapids to do a survey, and so that went out to the citizens of North Liberty, and really it came back with, we're not really interested in fixed route service. I think that's probably changing, and I think as we're creating, as I said, these islands and pockets of development, it's more important for folks that want to take advantage of the services that we provide, whether it be indoor walking in the winter or whatever it might be. And so at some point we do have to take the next step. And so I think there's a plan in place right now where a little bit of funding that this council is looking at approving increasing that service, and I would support that. I think we need to be cautious though and not jump in too quickly and go out and buy a bunch of buses or something like that. There's probably a need. We're at the tipping point, and we need to do something to start to increase that service.
Chris?
Could you clarify for me, Bob, the fixed routes within North Liberty itself, or the fixed
That's
route
what the
that's
question
currently
is. Do
there?
you support increasing fixed route transit service within North Liberty?
Okay, that's really kind of a loaded question for us, because there's a matter of funding that goes into that, and the participation rate that we've had for our fixed route currently that goes from North Liberty to Coralville and Iowa City has been, in a word, it's been disappointing. We put monies there for a perceived need, and the number of folks that ride on that service has been pretty stagnant, and it's been short of what we had hoped it would be. So it's been kind of perplexing to us as to how are we doing enough with those monies each and every year for transportation services. So the solution is really, I think, something that we have to keep being agile in pursuing in year after year after year. So this will be the third iteration of that committee coming together, and it might turn out that we can be successful providing only a fixed service in North Liberty. What that does, though, is it takes away from a fixed pot of money that we have set aside in the budget, and it will take away from folks that rely upon this service to commute to work in Iowa City or to Coralville or for social reasons. So it comes down to being able to justify why we are going to be changing that service. And if our community says that we need to be looking more within our own borders for transportation services, and there's more than the majority support for that option, then it makes sense to go that way. But right now, our transportation budget is serving folks that may not necessarily stay within the community when they leave and get on this bus, and this is something that we'll hope to understand more as this task force.
Terry?
Thank you. As I stated before, transportation is probably the biggest unsaid issue in the community right now. The thing is that more and more call for people who need to get around town, whether it's to medical appointments, whether it's to the pantry, those types of calls need to be addressed, and especially with wintertime starting to happen. This will not be an easy task. The thing about the transportation program is, and the transportation committee is, we let them have an open box. No bars held. Explore anything and everything you want to do. It may not come to a bus service. It may come to a purchase of service from someplace somehow, privately or whatever. What gives me hope, though, is that with the Metropolitan Planning Organization, finally, I'm a believer that they're finally hitting the trail to where we can have express bus service between Cedar Rapids and Iowa City with a stop in North Liberty. If they can do that, we can divert some of that daily traffic that we have to that, free up some of those funds to swing it more for internal use that is desperately, desperately needed.
A couple of comments and questions. Be aware of the fact that if you have a fixed route system, you need to have then a paratransit system. Okay?
When you ask the question here, how much time do you want?
We're going to be open. We'll be open. The League of Women Voters have not been vocal in the last few years, but historically, they have been a very strong advocate for a regional transit system. Is that something that you think should be explored? Chris, I guess we start with you.
Unequivocally, yes. It's been a challenge for all entities, Johnson County, Coralville, Iowa City, North Liberty, in our discussions. Solon, even reaching out to Swisher and Shueyville. It's a challenge, and one of the difficult things about living in Johnson County is the number of folks that are trying to do good in their certain communities. There are folks that sit on the Iowa City Council, Coralville, and North Liberty and Johnson County Supervisors. We're all trying to do the best that we can in representing the folks that elected us up there for that purpose. What's difficult and time-consuming and sometimes goes completely unnoticed is that collaboration that could and should occur between entities. There are a couple of possible solutions that would come from that, and transportation is most certainly one of them. We are so inefficient as a county. We have in providing transportation solutions to our county. We have a fantastic CAN bus, Iowa City and Coralville Transit, and right now we're trying to perceptively compete with each other in that service, and North Liberty being a part of that. The solution that we had as an option for us was to be a part of the Coralville Transit. So it's not necessarily been within our hands. Is it justifiable for us to start our own transit service, and can we say that that's going to be a smart financial decision? Probably not. So it made sense for us to partner with Coralville. It also makes sense for all of us to partner together. There doesn't need to be a CAN bus in Iowa City and a Coralville Transit. There needs to be a Johnson County Transit. And if those monies are put together, all of our entities will go a lot further. That is a challenge, though. And as Terry can assess as a very active member of the MPO, there are 12, 15 people that sit at a table for an MPO discussion, and it's difficult to make decisions and to have some basis of consensus on moving forward with such a large undertaking.
Terry?
Regionalization of bus service. Well, the quick answer would be yes, we should and could if we can, but the money that's coming from Washington under their various transportation programs are shrinking all the time. Jim knows that just as well as I do, and we fight that every time that we're there. The thing is that even the competition for money for buses is getting stiffer, and stiffer. You're seeing buses that are staying online longer, maybe well past their usefulness is concerned. If there are ways that we can all give, take, share, design among ourselves, that's fine. The thing is that in the past, some things have been told to us that I really don't care for, and that if you're asking North Liberty to put in money, talk to us first, not last. And that's what I need to safeguard as far as our community.
So it's hard to argue with the idea that we should collaborate with our neighbors. I think there's definitely some efficiency gains to be had by having, especially for some of the more rural and smaller municipalities, to create an authority of sorts that would manage transportation or other services. I think what I'm a little bit concerned about is the allocation of funds and who has a seat at the table and how you make that fair. And so if you've got a board or something like that running this authority, how do you put your best interests in front of them, and how are they protecting you when they're going to be strained just like everybody else that's trying to provide that service? So I think it can work. I think there's definitely a benefit, especially for some of the smaller Johnson County rural areas and smaller municipalities. Whether it would make sense as the metro area or the Johnson County area to include the university, City of Coralville, City of Iowa City, I think it would be challenging when you start to lose the things that are important to you because the bigger players at the table are looking at their best interests.
One footnote, if I may take.
Sure.
One of the problems that I have noticed when they've talked about regional transportation system is they have asked the present operators of the systems in Iowa City, Coralville, to study the issue. And it seems to me that they always come up with the fact, hey, what we're doing is great. And it seems to me that the only way you're going to look objectively at a regional system is to have some independent group authorized to really look at the study and the savings.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it looks like, gee, we got a lot of duplications, and that there could be a better way, but nothing against the present operators of the systems. Quite frankly, they think it's pretty doggone good the way it is. And if you ask them to give you a report, you're going to get the same report that they have made through the years. So I guess I'm just encouraging
Do you
you.
mind if I say something?
Please.
So I've generally tried to keep my work life out of my campaign for city council, but I worked for the parking and transportation department at the university. And I think and this is not going to answer the question, it's almost irrelevant, but from the university's perspective, it's a almost completely student-run operation that has a very low cost to the university. And it would be challenging to duplicate that in an authority environment where you're not hiring students to
Sure.
operate it, you're hiring professionals and such.
I've conducted many forums, and I've never done this before because I want to ask a member of the audience for some clarification. Glenn, am I right that North Liberty approved a visibility code?
Approved what?
The visibility code that you worked on, that Iowa City
Yes, the city of North Liberty, the city of Iowa City, and Johnson
County. Yeah. So let me thank you all for that and hope that you will really promote that. Let me ask you, we have a small group, and are there questions that you would like to ask these three gentlemen? One of my pet peeves or interests has always been accessible, affordable housing. What do you think North Liberty could do to really improve accessible and affordable housing in North Liberty?
Start here?
Whatever. Sure.
So I don't have the benefit of having been as close to it as the other two at the table because they are actively involved in the efforts as serving as incumbents. So I have what information that I've gathered from serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And recently, Dean Wheatley, the Director of Planning for the city, presented us with a slide that said 62% of housing in North Liberty could be considered affordable. And I was kind of thrown back by that, 62%. And so I said, well, what's the definition of could be considered affordable housing? And he just combined duplexes, condos, and apartments. And so, I think we need to do a little bit better defining of what we think affordable housing is and how it fits within our environment. I like that he was trying to generalize, and it wasn't. He wasn't making that presentation. It just happened to be a slide put in, so I'll let him slide on that one. But obviously, no candidate, either us or Iowa City, is going to say we don't support affordable, accessible housing. I don't think anybody would say that. We need to get an inventory and figure out what that means for us. What are we actively looking for? What do we want to encourage our developers to do? We have a really good design standard, and we're really holding our developers to pretty high standards to come in and develop in North Liberty. What is it that we actually want, and start going after those specific needs? The accessibility piece, we've all talked a little bit about it. I think we're creating these pockets and islands. We need to be able to connect them. We have done a good job in the last 5 or 6 or 7 years in creating a trail network and a sidewalk network. The work on 965 has allowed Fox Run and that development to be connected with the city, which previously it really wasn't. We're extending some of the trails, and I think that's all positive movement, but we need to continue to look and work in that front.
Terry, you want to add anything?
We've been told that really North Liberty's been doing it right. And for the most part, I believe so, because we do have a wide expanse as far as available housing and cost. To answer the question of what's a good guideline, I like the 40% rule. that we've talked about before in some various housing programs is like 40% of gross income can be used as far as basing what your rents may be, what your mortgage may be, as setting that threshold as far as what costs are concerned and available cost. So the thing is, it's a floating target at times. It just moves back and forth just any way that you want to interpret it. But it's when everyone has to finally agree on, okay, this is the definition. The dollars can move up and down, but if this is what we're going to go by a certain percentage and work that way, then we're off base. You know, we can finally move some direction. The one thing that I've always had criticism before, and this has even been during the MPO meetings, let's agree to one or two basic points that we want to pursue and solve. Once we agree on a master, then we can move forward to the next problem at hand. But the thing, it's a target, you know, and I get dissatisfied with it. But again, I like what North Liberty's doing, and I think we're doing okay.
Let me have about 3 minutes. I want to express appreciation to the three of you. I think it's great when citizens in a community step forward and say, hey, we wish to be of help. My impression is that North Liberty seems to be on the right track. I go back long enough to remember when you had real conflict between the city manager, Mr. James, and the mayor, and the council, and you had three competing forces that never seemed to get along.
Did you have to bring that up?
No, I'm saying
That
that.
was probably
I'm
one of the
saying
main
that
reasons
from
why
a
Chris
very
and I ran when we did.
Terry, I'm saying that from a very positive standpoint, because you know, I used to attend even some of your council meetings back then, and when North Liberty first voted to have a try the transit system, and I happened to be at that meeting, happened to be speaking in favor of that idea. But you know, North Liberty has really come a long way, and you know, although I'm a resident of Iowa City, I'm really a strong advocate for Johnson County. I think Johnson County is, I can't think of a better place to live. You know, we have rural, urban areas. We have cultural attractions, recreational attractions. We're just a dadgum good county. And what North Liberty does not only affects the people in North Liberty, but it affects people in Iowa City, Coralville, and every place else, because we are all in this together. And so on behalf of our task force, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank you for your willingness to serve. And I would remind the television audience that there are 4 candidates, there are 3 positions. So you can vote for all 3 of these gentlemen if you choose to, or you can vote for 2 of them and for Jay, who's not here. And as I said at the end of the forum for the Iowa City candidates, if any of you want to donate any contributions to these gentlemen for their campaign, I'm sure they would accept it. If you don't want to do that, you can talk to your friends and neighbors who live in North Liberty and encourage them to vote the way you think would be best for that community. And so, Terry, Chris, and Jim, thank you very much. And Mayor, thank you very much for being here.
Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
And thank you for Coral Vision, who are taping.
Do you mind if I get Amy to take our picture up here?